right, my friends. So here it is. If you hate Trump, then you're going to be complaining about what he did. But here's the real deal. Trump did exactly what he should have did, and he did it for the best interest of the people of Iran. Now, whether you want to believe it or not, 80% of the people that live in Iran have Jewish relations. A lot of them come from Israel. A lot of them are Jewish. 20% of them are the people that are causing the issue. Now, you got your Democratic Party all up in arms about nothing because you got people that are saying stuff that don't know what the hell they're talking about, like AOC. That girl does not understand common sense facts that, first off, Trump doesn't need Congress's approval for an airstrike of that magnitude. If it was boots on the ground and it was a war situation, that's a whole different ballgame. But it's not. It was a really simple airstrike, overdone, don't need them. They know that. They're just trying to make you guys confused and make you guys hate Trump. This was a good thing. This isn't a bad thing. We're not going to go to war. They're not going to come back after us. We just stopped them from doing the worst of the worst. They're building a nuclear plant. That's what they were trying to do. That was the whole idea. We went in there and we destroyed their nuclear power. End of story. So, again, if you think that this is hurting MAGA because of what reason, the party is not being fractured. I don't believe, my personal opinion. And if it is, if people are turning around and going against them because of this airstrike, then you know what? They were never really supporters to begin with then, because this is straight out solid political correct action. Not like, Joe Biden, the wishy-washy wipe, give them everything they need. So, and go back and do some history, because there was some other stuff going on when Obama was president and nobody said nothing about it. Not a peep. So, it is what it is. It's happening. Back Trump, support Israel, and stop listening to idiots. All right. Here's some videos and some other stuff to back what I'm talking about.
I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that, because that perhaps will deter them from doing something that would be reckless, foolish, and tragic.
Have you heard from anyone in Iran, and are you expecting retaliation?
Well, if they retaliate, it'll be the worst mistake they've ever made. Look, we can fly in and out of Iran at will. We went in last night. The president sent our military forces from halfway across the world, went in, conducted this operation, left. Not a shot was fired against us. They didn't even know what had happened. By the time we left, the planes were out of their airspace before they finally started realizing they'd been hit. So it would be a terrible mistake if Iran retaliates. But that's not our goal. We are not declaring war on Iran. We're not looking for war on Iran. But if they attack us, then I think we have capabilities they haven't even seen yet. It would be a terrible mistake on their part. And frankly, it's not what we hope for or wish. What we want now is to ensure that Iran never has nuclear weapons. If what they want is a civil nuclear program where they have power plants like a lot of other countries in the world have, they can do that. That's the deal that's been offered to them. They rejected it. They played us. They tried to play us, I should say. They wouldn't respond to our offers. They disappeared for 10 days. And now, the president had to take action as a response.
What we're prepared for is if they attack us in a maximal direction, first of all, we have got maximum defensive posture. I think that we're going to be able to defend as many of our people as possible. And of course, I'd encourage Americans to pray for our guys in the Middle East, because yes, They are under a significant amount of duress and a significant amount of threat right now. But then, of course, John, if the Iranians attack us, they're going to be met with overwhelming force. And I don't think the president could be clear about this. If you look at what we did yesterday, John, we did not attack the nation of Iran. We did not attack any civilian targets. We didn't even attack military targets outside of the 3 nuclear weapons facilities that we thought were important to accomplish our goal of preventing Iran from having a nuclear weapon. So how Iran responds, I think, is ultimately the ball is in their court. But if you look at what we did, it was very precise, very narrowly tailored to our objective. And if the Iranians decide to expand this, then that's ultimately their decision, and the President of the United States will respond in kind.
The majority of Iranians, they actually support Israel because they despise the Islamic Republic of Iran. And, you know, your enemy's enemy is your friend. Yeah. So a lot of the people that support Israel, they're actually the Iranian diaspora, and they actually, support the Pahlavi dynasty. And the problem with the Islamic Republic of Iran at this moment in time, and one of the reasons they're still in power, is that the opposition is extremely divided. I think there's 3 different groups. There is the group that supports the Islamic Republic, and they're minority. I would say they're 10-20% maximum. And even overwhelming majority of the religious people in Iran, because the Islamic Republic started as a religious movement. But I know a lot of people, a lot of women that wear the headscarf, they pray 5 times a day, they're very devout Muslims, but they've had sick of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So let's say 10 to 20% support the Islamic Republic. I feel like more than 50%, 60%, 70%, they want a change. And they want the Islamic Republic of Iran gone. And we have like a 10% in between, 10-20% in between, which we call the gray movement. They're like they're not really with the Islamic Republic, but at the same time they're saying, well, if the Islamic Republic of Iran goes, we might have another situation like Syria, or like in Iraq, or like in Afghanistan. And they think, well, Islamic Republic of Iran, as bad as they are, they kind of provide a stability. However, I disagree, because I feel like in the last 45 years, the Islamic Republic of Iran has made Iranians poorer, and it has made the whole region a lot more unstable. Tens of thousands of people that have died in the last 45 years, and people getting hanged, and this happens on an everyday basis.
Hezbollah doesn't want peace. Hamas doesn't want peace. So as long as the threats to peace exist, we cannot have stability and real cooperation. Unfortunately, Iran today is kept hostage by the regime that promotes all this conflict. The only way to reverse that process is for this regime to no longer be there. It's as simple as that.
How can all decent people stand with the people of Iran today? What do you say to them?
Not only we don't hate each other, but we need each other and we believe in each other. But it's important for the world to understand how different this regime is from the thinking of its own citizenry. The chance for real peace cannot exist as long as you have chief antagonists that, as you best said it yourself, don't want peace.
You are the most prominent opposition member to the Iranian regime. What can you tell our viewers about the regime and how the Iranian regime treats Muslims in Iran?
This regime has been, in fact, anti-Islamic. 2 leaders specifically made statements about the fact that if this regime calls itself Islamic, then we are not Muslims. One was the late President Sadat, and the other one was the late King of Morocco, Hassan II. Given the circumstances of our country, it's important that now we move beyond hope. We have to actually have belief that it can be done. When I think of the civil rights movement in the US and what Martin Luther King ended up doing, it was a dream. But at some point, they had the belief that they can actually get it done. We need to shift the pendulum from having hope to have belief.
Final word from you to our young audience watching us all over the Middle East and of course in Iran.
Talk to one another. See that at the end we have so much more commonality of interest than differences. You actually make the job of your governments easier to make it happen, because they see that the desire and will is there. And that's a very important message. At the end of the day, what forces decision makers are the electors or public opinion.
All right, so there it is. So even Hillary Clinton said it. If she was the president, she would attack Iran if they kept the nuclear program going like that, and they don't want them to have the capability. So why is the left all upset about it? Trump did it, and now they're mad. It doesn't make any sense. And if they really believe that MEGA is fracturing because of it, I don't believe that's going to be a true statement. I think that's going to be a false statement. Somebody's just trying to say stuff just to make people wonder what's going on. But there it is. It's not my word. That's proof in the pudding. There's video backing it up. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Peace out, guys. Love you.